Hello P5 children, I welcome you to this lesson, our second lesson for mathematics. The previous lesson we are talking about the fractions and look at fraction as a part of a whole. We look at different types of fractions, we looked at proper fractions, we looked at improper fractions, and we looked at the mixed numbers. And I know you've got different examples of those fractions. Allow me to go to the next move, which is also the category in our fractions as we learn, and that's what we call equivalent fractions. In sets, you talked about equivalent, something which looks nearly similar, but in fractions, it is a different issue. We are saying as fractions which have the same value. They have the same value. What do you mean by the value? You might look at 1 out of 2, but there is another number that looks, when you get it and simplify it, will still come back as 1 out of 2, which is half. When you talk about the equivalent fraction, leave alone the equivalent sets. Equivalent sets, we say they have the same number of items, but of different kinds. But when you count, they're the same. Look at this one here. I want you to take a look at this to have that view about the equivalent fractions. Let's have this. This is what we call a whole. The whole piece of paper or a whole card. The cuttings. It is a whole. I want to divide or to fold this paper into 4 parts. Like this one here. This is 1, 2, 3, and 4. I've broken it into parts. Like this. So I want to form, to get other names given to a particular fraction. So if I break into 4 parts, each part I'm going to get here is 1 out of 4. Is how many parts? 1 out of 4. So take a look. 1, 2, 3, 4. How many parts are you seeing? 4 parts. Even if I turn like this, I have folded into 4. So what I've shaded that you are seeing here, or if I turn like this, what I've shaded is this one here. It's standing for a quarter of the whole paper. Is there another part here that we can use which can give us another fraction? When we simplify, can still give us 1 out of 4. We are going to apply that. Take a look at this. There are some smaller parts which have been divided there equally. So in terms of 4, we have 1, the whole of this one, 2, 3, 4. That is a big one. We are getting the idea of a quarter. Those fractions which are equivalent to a quarter. This is a quarter of the card. But inside here, we have other parts, which means the lines you are seeing there has divided further the figure into other parts. The big ones are only 4. Even you can see the idea of half there. We also have. If I want to half, I'll just fold like this. This one here. So in half, how many quarters are there? This one I've divided this one into 2. So in half we have how many quarters? How many quarters do we need there? In half, how many quarters? We have 2 quarters, 2 of them. When you multiply a quarter by 2, you will get that. So here, we have this figure. We are still dealing with a quarter. That's 1 out of 4. So this is a quarter. And then the division here, we have other small ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So how many are there? If I take this one as 1 out of 4, and I've counted the smaller ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In terms of the next fraction, which has the same value as a quarter, what part is shaded? What parts are shaded? In this 1, 2, 3, 4, me I'm seeing a quarter for the 4 parts. But now when I divide 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which parts are shaded? We have 1, 2 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which means another fraction which is equivalent to a quarter is 2 out of 8. Which other fraction is 2 out of 8? How do we get it? If I have a quarter, the next one I'll be say a quarter, I'm going to say 1 times 2, and then it is 4 times 2. So the next fraction will be 2 out of 8. Look at this one here, the idea. So let's move on and see what the meaning of a quarter is. So we are saying equivalent fractions are fractions which have the same value, which means a quarter is equals to 2 out of 8. They are the same. When I divide 2 out of 8 by 2, I will say 2 divided by 2, I'll get 1. Then 8 divided by 2, I get 4. It will give me the same value. I will still have my quarter. So as you saw here in the shading. The next, let's look at this. Sorry a bit. Fractions equals to a quarter in terms of circles. Take a look at number 1, picture number 1 there, has shown you that a quarter. The figure is divided into 4, if you see it very well. Then the next one is 2 out of 8 I was talking about. How many parts are shaded? They also divided that figure into 8 parts. And the shaded part is 2 out of 8. That 2 out of 8 is still resembling that a quarter. Are we seeing? So it took their quarter, the part, to be shaded. Let's take a look at this. This is our part. This is a quarter. Let's look at this. So the first one is a quarter. Which other fraction is the same as a quarter? When we simplify, has the same value. We have this one. This one was divided into 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if there are 8, when I shade a quarter again, in terms of 8, we have 2 out of 8. The next one is here in 3 out of 12. The next one is here 3 out of 12. Where the quarter part of it has been divided further into 1, 2, 3. 3 parts again. So this one is divided into 12. So what is a quarter of that? It is the 3 out of 12 which is shaded. Take a look at it very well before we come to our other one. It is the 3 out of 12 shaded. When you were in primary 4, you talked about this. We are even doing revision also. Another fraction which is equivalent to our quarter is this one here, which is 4 out of 16. This circle is divided into 16 parts. And when you take this part, which is the same as this one here, it is further divided to 1, 2, 3, 4. So it is 4 out of the total, which is 16. Another one which is equivalent is 5 out of 20. Another one is 6 out of 24. You can look at it here. So that is our diagram explaining what I had here. Let's move to the next, and those are our examples. So that is the review of what we had. So we have what fraction is equivalent to? What fraction is equivalent to? We go to the question there. A is half. There is something I've already cheated for you there to do. You see? Half. It is half. So take a look at our worker there. Which fraction is equivalent to half? I want you to have that. At first we started with the diagram. Now we are coming to work. Which fraction is equivalent to half? Let's go. Which fraction? So for us to get that fraction, we need to get the half. 1 out of 2. You will excuse me here a bit. I've used only one multiplication sign, but still remains the same. Even if I say it's 2 out of 2, it's the same as 1 times 3 out of 2 times 3. Or it's the same as 1 times 2 out of 2 times 2. So the first one is the same as you have multiplied 1 times 1 out of 2 times 1, which remains 1 out of 2. Which means our next one, to get the equivalent of a half, we multiply the numerator by 2, and then we multiply the denominator by 2 also. The next one will be 1 times 3 out of 2 times 3. The next one will be 1 times 4 out of 2 times 4. Can we move to the next to get what we want there? To get what we want. Let's move and we see. So these are fractions now. When I multiply 1 times 1, 2 times 1, I get 1 out of 2. Are we together, children? When I multiply 1 times 2, I get 2. I multiply 2 times 2, I get 4. So the next fraction, which is equivalent to half, is 2 out of 4. Or we call it 2/4. 2 out of 4. Let's move to the next one. We have 1 times 3 out of 2 times 3. What do we get? 1 when you multiply it by 3, we get 3. 2 when you multiply by 3, we get 6. The next one, which is equivalent to half, is 1 times 4 out of 2 times 4. So what is the logic behind? We multiply the fraction, the same fraction, by saying the numerator times 2, the denominator times 2. Next, the numerator times 3, the denominator times 3. So we keep multiplying to get the equivalent fraction. So even this one. So what are the equivalent fraction to have? We have 2 out of 4. When I divide 2 times 2, I'll get 1. I divide 4 times by 2. So when I divide 2 by 2, I'll get 1. And I divide 4 by 2, I'll still get 1. So brings me to this. 3 out of 6 is the same as half when I divide. 4 out of 8 is equivalent to half. 5 out of 10 is equivalent to half. That one I've not shown. That is the same as 1 times 5 out of 2 times 5, which gives me 5 out of 10. The next one will be 6 out of 12. The next one will be 7 out of 14. Continuous multiplication using the counting numbers. 1 times 2, 2 times 2. 1 times 3, 2 times 3. 1 times 4, 2 times 4. Gives us the answer. Let's take a look at the next one. So we are saying the equivalent fractions to half is 2 out of 4, 3 out of 6, 4 out of 8, 5 out of 10, and others. 2. The next fraction there is that is B, is 2/3. What are the fractions equivalent to 2/3? To 2/3. What are those fractions equivalent to the 2/3? We are going to do the same thing there. What shall we say? We shall get the 2/3. We say it is 2 times 2 out of 3 times 2. And what will be the next? Also will be 2 times 3 out of 3 times 3. You keep multiplying by the counting number. Multiply both the numerator and the denominator. The next will be 2 times 4 out of 3 times 4. You multiply the first fraction, which is 2/3. So what do we get? We have our 2/3 remaining. The next 2 times 2 gives us 4, and 3 times 2 gives us 6. So the next will be 4 out of 6. 2 times 2 out of 3 times 4 gives us 4 out of 6. Then the next one will be 6 out of 9 as a result of multiplying 2 times 3 out of 3 times 3. The next one will be 8 out of 12, which is 2 times 4 out of 3 times 4. Follow through the work very well. You see it there. We have 2 out of 3, 4 out of 6, 6 out of 9, 8 out of 12. How do we get that? Look at it very well. 2/3. When you simplify those fractions, they will come back to 2/3. When I divide 4 by 2, I'll get 2. 6 by 2, 3. 6 by 3, 2. 9 by 3, 3. The other one there is the 8 out of 8 by 2, 4. 12 by 2, 6. So we'll discover that we move on in that form. Or 8 by 2, we shall get 4. Sorry, 8 by 4, we shall get 2. Then 12 by 2, we shall get, 12 by 4, we shall get 3. So, and others, which you will keep getting. So you keep multiplying the fraction by the counting numbers. The numerator, multiply it and the denominator. So we say 2/3, 4 out of 6, 6 out of 9, 8 out of 12 is our equivalent fraction to 2/3. Let's move to the next number. Find the value of P in the number. So we are saying find the value of P in the number. That in there, the last one you ignore it. This one here, this in here. We are supposed to find the value of P in the, then we shall have what we need there. What is that we need? Value of P in, yes, 4 out of 5 equals to P out of 20. What do you think that question wants? Wants you to find the equivalent of 4 out of 5, which gives you the denominator as 20. What is that equivalent fraction? What is that fraction equivalent to 4 out of 5, which is the same as P out of 20? So we are looking for the value of P. We are still going back to the other one, and we need to find the other equivalent fraction until we reach our answer in a simple form. So what are we going to say? We shall say 4 out of 5. You follow the other procedure. You multiply 4 times 2, 5 times 2. The next, 4 times 3, 5 times 3. The next, 4 times 4, 5 times 4. So you will continue if you need to continue. If the number is like, you keep continuing until, but for me, I'll stop there in the number, in 3 of them. So let's have it. So we shall have there 4 out of 5, and then we have 4 times 2, 8, 5 times 2, 10. 12 out of 15, which is 4 times 3, 12, 5 times 3, 15. Then the next 4 times 4, 16. 5 times 4 gives us 20. It looks like this is the fraction we want, but that is not your final answer. We are looking for the value of P. That's why I've used a different color to identify that is the fraction we need. So can we go to the next? There's something you're not seeing there, but we are saying 4 out of 5 is equal to 16 out of 20. My picture is trying to cover there, and my photo is trying to cover there a bit, but we shall have it a bit there that you may not see it. Yes, you are able to see the work there very well now. You are able to see it very, very well. So we have that 4 out of 5 equals to 16 out of 20. We were looking for that one, that 16 is having even a different color. So what is the value of P? So we substitute, shall say, when we substitute, we say our P is equal to 16. P is 16. What is our P? P equals to 16. Go back and go through. How did we find it? We had to get other equivalent fraction until we get that one which has the denominator as 20. That is a simple trick. So that you say 4 out of 5 equals 16 out of 20. So that missing number there, the value of P is 16. How did you get it? You get other equivalent fractions. Let's look at the next one. So let's go back. Find the value of P. 4 out of 5 equals P out of 20. We say we get the equivalent fraction. Go through that work. We get the equivalent fraction, which is 4 times 2 out of 5 times 2, 4 times 3 out of 5 times 3, 4 times 4 out of 5 times 4. Then you get 4 out of 5, 8 out of 10, 12 out of 15. But all these ones did not give us the answer. The final answer is the 16 out of 20. Where there is 20 is what you're supposed to choose. So we say 4 out of 5 equals 16 out of 20. What is our P? P equals to 16. Our next work is not far away from the activity. Last time I told you that we are still doing our practical work. We are still having our practical work. or the explanation to more about fraction, but in the next lesson we shall have the activity. Therefore, our activity is there, very, very clear, saying that that is our activity. Find the next two fractions equivalent to. You have number 1. You happen to get 2 of them. Don't get very many like in our example. So you're supposed to get that. Get our fractions. Then you have 2 out of 7. You also get 2 fractions equivalent to. You have 7 out of 8. You also get 2 fractions equivalent to 7 out of 8. Then the next, fill in the missing numbers in. There is something, there are missing numbers up there. You're supposed to fill. You remember 24 is the what? The denominator. The numerator is missing. The numerator is given, the denominator is not there. 9 out of 10 is equals to 36 out of the number we don't know. So fill the missing number. You know how to fill it when you follow the lesson. Then the next one, find the value of x in the number. 2 out of 7 equals to x out of 28. 2 out of 7 equals x out of 28. It is almost not very different from this. We are missing here and we are missing here. Look at this one very well. We need the denominator here. Here we need the numerator. It's not there. What do we do? I wish you the best, children. Follow through the lesson before you start answering this question. Where there's a challenge, my number is there in the WhatsApp. I remain Bonya Alex, a teacher of mathematics in this school. Thank you very much. Do the work. I wish you the best of luck in all that you're doing. Continue doing work, knowing that anytime they will say we are going back to school, and if you keep playing, you will miss a lot of work. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much.